Hey guys and girls, welcome into the new channel. I'm recording this before I made the channel or the name, so if it's not on a new channel or since I don't know the name, whatever. But if you are new to my other channel and content, what's up? This is a big departure from what I usually do, and it's definitely the first time I've done any lists or anything like that. I didn't feel the need to use the face cam for this just because you guys are going to have a lot more fun just looking at this beautiful gameplay of a few games I have and just hear me talk. So if you don't want to look at the game, this is a podcast then. For this list, we're going to be discussing my favorite albums that were released this year. Just a really quick rundown, we're going to get started soon, of how it works. So I'm going to do the 2 honorable mentions, and then I'm going to go from 5 all the way to my favorite. So to kick off our first honorable mention here, we have Perverts by Ethel Cain. This is an incredibly creepy soundtrack, and this thing genuinely makes me want to check out more drone music. I hope to hear this album in like a scary movie or game soundtrack one day. I think that would be really cool. Ethel Cain's music always makes you feel like dirty and creeped out, like you need to get in the shower to wash yourself off after. And this album does that better than any other album I've heard. It's just the content's gross. The music just makes you feel super unsettled, like you're not supposed to necessarily be hearing it. Honestly, if they made I know what the Backrooms movie they're making, if they use this as the soundtrack, incredibly disturbing. By the way, any and all audio you hear in the background is not from the albums. I don't want this video to get copyrighted, so it may just be from the game you're watching me play. Again, a genuinely amazing album, but I had to put it in my honorable mentions because I haven't got enough time to listen to it yet. I only listened to it a few weeks ago, and then I listened to Ethel Cain's Willoughby album close after, so it's just a lot of album for me to get through, and especially because it's like an hour 30 and it's like 10 tracks long. It's really long. Like I said, it's drone music. So next up on our honorable mentions list, we have Fancy That by Pink Pantheress. Just phenomenal and fun, very fun. Pink Pantheress is genuinely becoming one of my favorite artists, and this album, I wish I could have fit it on my top 5, but the other albums on here are just really special. For our third and final honorable mention, we have Let God Sort 'Em Out by Clips. Something that probably is a lot of people's favorite album from this year. I wasn't quite as high on it as I will discuss, but I still really liked it and got a lot of listens out of it. Clips' comeback genuinely needs to be studied. Like, it's so crazy what they've been able to do and pull off. Both Pusha T and Malice are still at the top of their game, rapping and writing wise. And a special shout out to The Birds Don't Sing as the first track off the album, and it's the most emotional track I've heard this entire year, so definitely got to give them points for that. It's gonna make pretty much anybody just want to tell their parents they love them. The only reason it didn't crack my top 5 is because I don't love the production on every track. Sorry, not sorry to Pharrell, but yeah, I just didn't love it on every song. It was good on most of the songs, but some of them it just dragged it down for me because it really took away from Pusha and Malice's rapping and writing most of the time when you'd have these beats that I just didn't really like. Forgot to mention I'll also be rating for the albums actually in my top 5, the top 5 songs from it, and then a few honorable mentions. And at that number 5 spot, we have God Does Like Ugly by JID, or JID, whatever you want to call him. One of my favorite rappers, my personal second favorite rapper, just behind Kendrick. Specifically for this album, the alternate version, it adds one other really good track. And in a surprise to this pick, this album actually for me was a pretty big disappointment from one of my favorite rappers this year. I think this album falls off a bit in the back half. Not bad, just not as good as a lot of the tracks that front load the album. Honestly, though, this album didn't have a great chance being not disappointing because The Forever Story is one of my favorite albums ever, and that was his previous work. I even have a podcast up from like 2 or 3 years ago on it. I'll link it here. Go check it out. It may be surprising that it's still at number 5 despite this fact, but just because I was disappointed with the album doesn't mean I disliked it. In fact, I didn't at all. I loved it. That's just more props to Jid than a diss, because despite him disappointing me, it is still an amazing record. Amazing enough to get it into my top 5 of the year. This album is just so good. Like, I think the Don Toliver track is the only disappointing one on the album, even though I still like it. It's a good track, but they could have done better. I just specifically love Jid and Don a lot, and that's the only one that I'm like, it's good, but it could be better. Just, why does Don have pitched down vocals for like almost the entire track? It's fine to do that for the intro, but after that, it shouldn't have continued, because Don's vocals sound so good on that track. Before we get into the top 5 songs, the honorable mentions I have for this are K-Word. This song is just a whole movie. Aggression, even better than Community, which will be recognized later, and other incredible emotion from Jid that this song is like it's from a movie. G's, also some of my favorite flows, and I love the story he tells, but just didn't quite crack my top 5. So this next one is the reason that I included the alternate version. For our number 5 spot, we have Sun. This song is so smooth and has crazy flows. I like the feature, but I know it's not for everybody, and really I didn't like it on the first listen. I just had to give it a few more listens for it to click. But yeah, even the beat switch at the end of the song just makes this song go crazy. At our number 4 spot, VCR. Amazing guitar riff in the beat, chill but heart-wrenching track, and Vince Staples continues to be extremely underrated, and I just love him. He does just as good as Jid on this track, and yeah, just really like the track. Number 3, we have Community. We have amazing energy from Jid, like this aggression that I really appreciate hearing, and that kind of feels like this album's not gimmick, but something that Jid does on it quite often is he puts a little more aggression to his voice, which I don't think he's done really all that much before. At our number 2 spot, we have You Ugly, which is the first track off of this album. Jid's best flows, some of his craziest bars, crazy beat switch in the song that changes, and the beat switch on the second half of the song just adds so much intensity to the beat, and I love this album so much. And for our number 1 track on God Does Like Ugly, we have Skate. Yes, super fun, bouncy, fast-paced. Jid's phenomenal, just super fast and quick flows that match perfectly with how quick the beat goes. I love Earth Gang. Surprisingly, though, I like Dr. Dot's performance more than Johnny Venus's, which doesn't happen very often. I'm a big Johnny Venus fan, so big ups to Dr. Dot. Ciara is an amazing feature for this song, especially for the Atlanta inspiration. And at our number 4 spot, we have So Close to What by Tate McRae, specifically the deluxe version. Originally, I was actually kind of scared to put this on the list because I thought it might scare people off from the video because, I don't know, they're weird. But, hey, this is my list. Get fucking used to it. Only song I really don't love on this album is I Know Love. Not a fan of the Kid Laroi. Nothing to do with their drama. Just don't like his music, or most of his songs anyways. This song's not terrible, though. It's just very bland. Further mention, Cyrus Sounds has a generic 2010s chorus. Not bad, just not my favorite. The verses are great, though. For our first honorable mention off this album, we have Means I Care. Her vocals are amazing on this song, especially during the chorus. I wish I could have included it in the top 5 list, but she cooked too much with this album. For our second honorable mention, we have It's Okay, I'm Okay. Why did I say it like that? Nobody knows, but that's the way you should all say the song title now. One of the most popular songs on the album for a good reason, with the distinct, like, Britney Spears early 2000s pop music feel, especially in the music video. At our number 5 spot on this album, we have Miss Possessive. I appreciate this song for its placement on the original album version. It starts the story and themes of the album really well and has some pleasant high vocals from Miss McCrae. I also appreciate the sample used at the end of the chorus. Why did in my script did I write Miss McCrae? Nobody knows. Number 4, we have Like I Do. The deeper vocals from Tate and slightly slower pace makes the song stand out at the point of the album it is placed at. Super catchy. At number 3, we have Green Light. To me, the catchiest song on the album, which most of the songs are, so that's not saying very much. But, maybe it is saying something very special about this song. I also just feel this is a pretty underrated one from the album. I don't really hear anybody talk about this one, which is odd to me. It's a pretty typical love song lyric-wise at the start, but transitions when she starts talking about how she feels she can't continue with the relationship because she has so much past trauma. I like the symbolism she draws from this as being stuck at the green light, which is pretty clever into the name's title. At number 2, we have Purple Lace Bra. Very close to our number 1 spot for me. I like the message and the lyrics, and to me this song feels like it's strongly against people acting like they love people just to fuck them, where Tate is super into the guy sexually and romantically, while she can tell he only wants her for sex and doesn't feel she is smart or things such. Her vocals are so beautiful, along with the story. The production is very pretty, but punchy when the track requires it. And for our number 1 song, maybe a normie pick, but it's Sports Car. In my opinion, this is the best pop song that came out this year, at least of the ones that I've heard. This is the song I heard in the summer that got me to listen to her music in the first place, too, so it holds a special place in my heart. I really gotta go listen to her other stuff. I originally noticed her unique vocals and singing styles, which is what got me into it, and the production is just really cool and honestly, like, the production, like the high-pitched noise at the start kind of throws me off, or it did when I first listened to it, but now I love it. This song made the summer a cinematic one, to say the least. Lyrics are also crazy for sure. Quickly, since none of the deluxe tracks actually landed in my albums, but I think they're all really good and I'll rank them quickly. I think Horseshoe is the worst. At number 5, not bad. Again, just my least favorite. Number 4, Anything But Love. Number 3, Nobody's Girl. Number 2, Tit for Tat. And number 1, Trying On Shoes. Love that chorus. And at our number 3 spot, we have A Dangerous Summer by Yeet. A true return to form after Yeat's last album was a bit of a misstep. I didn't hate the album, but it wasn't amazing, especially not compared to 2093. I don't believe this is technically an album, maybe an EP, but it's as long as a lot of other albums, so I'm going to include it. I believe these songs are throwaways from Yeat's next album, which I believe is called A Dangerous Life. If that's the case, this next album may be the best one he's ever made, because if these tracks were thrown off of the album, what did he keep on there? Like, what gems is he holding in the vault right now? 2093 is truly one of the best modern trap albums that blends club sounds with futuristic sounds with his own signature style. Surprisingly, that album had some pretty good lyrics and a great running theme throughout the album as well. Now, A Dangerous Summer doesn't have that, but nails an entirely different sound. I think it's called Dangerous Summer, not A Dangerous. I don't know. To his signature sounding tracks inspired from his music back in the day with better production and punchier sounds. Shout out to Benny X and all the other producers, because the synth work on here and almost all of the tracks, honestly, is something really special. For our first honorable mention track, we have Two Tone. It's really just a chill Don and Yeat song. I believe they have another one, but I don't think I ever listened to that one all that deeply, so I don't know if I didn't like it or what. Don sounds heavenly, and Yeat comes through with that gas. I wish it could have been on my top 5, but it just got edged out. For our second honorable mention, we have Put It On God, or Put It ONG. Just a classic Yeat track with amazing production. And for our number 5 spot for the top 5 songs on Dangerous Summer, we have Oh I Did. By far the best harsh, hard track on the album, whatever you want to use there. The woman's scream goes so incredibly hard with the crazy bass and synths. The feature is good as well. Yeet is just at the top of his game right now with this. At our number 4 spot, we have ADL Is Coming. Yeet really tried to be a rock star on this track, and he fully achieved that. By far the most unique production he's ever used. It all sounds like live instrumentation to me. The drums and electric guitar are amazing, and this song just makes you feel like you're on top of the world because of how dramatic it is, which is a good thing, not a bad thing. It gives me the vibe of being on the Vegas Strip with a bunch of friends and just having fun. I've never been to Vegas, but if I go, I expect this is what it's going to be like, okay? At our number 3 spot, we have Growing Pains, a well-written track from Yeet that has a very unique guitar beat, especially for Yeet. The vocal effects are great, and when he just comes in to rap, it's some of the best flowing Yeet's ever done. Just super continuous, constant flows. The song is kind of nostalgic for the chorus, as it sounds like something that could be in an old pop song. And Yeet can actually sing. I'm sure he's using pitch correction and some auto-tune, but still. I'm super excited to hear more singing from Yeet, especially because he showcased really good singing on The Bell, which is one of his singles as well. At number 2, we have Fly Night. This album's 2093 track with the amazing club futuristic sound and an amazing feature from FKA Twigs. The beat change at Twigs' part is heavenly, along with her sounding like the closest to an angel a human can get. So, really good props to this song. At our number 1 spot, we have Come and Go. The catchiest song with a very chill vibe and some crazy lyrics for sure. The synths are just so good, and I don't know, this song is just the vibiest, and I don't know, it's my favorite on the album. On to the next album ranking. Our number 2 spot is going to Hurry Up Tomorrow by The Weeknd. Anybody that's been a long-term viewer of my channel knows The Weeknd is my favorite artist of all time, and this album just further cemented that for me. This album is a movie, which is no surprise because it was turned into one, which I haven't watched yet, but it didn't play in any theaters near me, so couldn't really have watched it, and I don't know what one of the 1,000 streaming services it's on, so I don't know. I'll have to look for it. Hopping into the ranking will help me get my thoughts across better, though. For our first honorable mention on this album, that song is Red Terror, an amazing story of his mother running from the war in Ethiopia, and phenomenal production. This beat is exactly the type of music clubs should play, but they instead just play nostalgia bait tracks from 20 years ago. Blah. This song would fit so well in a John Wick nightclub scene, genuinely. For our second honorable mention, we have Without a Warning, a song that makes you want to scream the lyrics with Abel, because you know he's feeling that shit, so you're feeling that shit. At our number 5 spot, we have Reflections Laughing, a super underrated track that's just super catchy and it has amazing lyrics. Travis is the only thing that brings this track down because his part isn't bad, but it's not phenomenal, and honestly would have been better if Abel did it himself with the pitch down vocals. We genuinely could have got a great song that sounds like Initiation at the end. We were robbed. Instead, we got Travis Scott barely trying. At number 4, we have The Abyss. Yet another Lana and Weeknd collab. How much more needs to be said? This song's amazing. It just hits my ears and makes me make this stank face every time. So when I make that face, you know a song's good. At our number 3 spot, we have Gimme Mercy. The catchiest song on the album by far, and just really good vibes, honestly. Usually songs like this wouldn't end up near the top of my list despite me liking the songs, just because I prefer darker sounds, but there is just something about this song. Number 2, Big Sleep. Phenomenal production, and it feels a bit like an interlude, which is appreciated, even though there's 1,000 on this album, but I just appreciate a bit of a longer interlude that's mostly production. But the Weeknd's performance on this track is so good, and on every track, honestly. At our number 1 spot, we have Given Up on Me. Kind of cheating because it's the 2 best songs on the album shoved together, but the second half feels like it could have been a lost track from the House of Balloons era, and the first track, again, has that John Wick nightclub scene style. So, this song is just really OP. At number 1, we have my top album of the entire year, Lovercore by Artemis. Lovercore is truly just my favorite album I've heard in a really long time, and I'm sure like a lot of you just have never even heard of it. No other album this year, or really in the past few years, have gave me the same kind of vibe that this one does, especially my number 1 track. Artemis is one of the most consistent pop/club stars right now, and this album just further extends his consistency. Honestly though, this album elevates him to a whole other stratosphere of artists. Not everyone will like this album, but go in with an open mind and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. As our one and only honorable mention here, we have How Could You Question My Love For You. It was between this one and number 5. Number 5 slightly edged it out though. These two songs give kind of similar vibes. At number 5, we have You Don't Have to Tell Me, a single that came out a while before the album was even ever announced, and it fits really well into the album. RIP to all of the original songs that were released as singles before this album came out and didn't make it on the project, like Test Drive and I Guess You Never Really Cared. Both of those songs are just phenomenal. All of these songs are amazing, and I hope they're included on a deluxe version of this album, because he has also been releasing some really strong singles after the album's release that fit the vibe of this album perfectly. The vocal effects on the chorus bring this song home so well. The song also has some very crazy lyrics. At our number 4 spot, we have Love Is a Knife, a vocal style and vocal effects that may throw some people off, but it really works for me. This song is again another example of this album's amazing 80s theming. At number 3, we have Superstar, the best club track on the entire album. It was released as a single a long time ago, and I knew it was special back then. Just an amazing track, truly. The music video just further shows the vibe and headspace this song is supposed to put you in, so I just watching that if you're going to listen to the song. At number 2, we have Sweet Kim, the catchiest song on the album and has an amazing 80s vibe. The synths are super beautiful, and it feels like a radio hit straight out of the 80s with that catchy chorus, and just a dangerously addictive song. And at our number 1 spot for best song on my favorite album, we have Baby Give Me More, featuring Moreau. This is by far the best track released this year, and it's not close. The only way I can describe this song is a gothic horrorcore club track. That's the only way I can really describe that. This song's synths genuinely sounds so eerie despite the beat as a whole going so hard. Moreau's inclusion on the track elevates it even further. It gives me similar vibes to Vincent Price's vocals on Thriller, which is very high praise. Moreau has also had a very unique voice and vibe in his music, but this is his best work truly. Very bone-chilling. The lyrics on this track are so disconcerting, with Artemis singing with some almost The Weeknd trilogy Kissland style vocals. There's definitely some inspiration there. The lyrics fit this album's near Halloween release date. Some very fucked up lyrics that you would never notice if you weren't paying attention to them. So, now you've got my recommendations. Go listen or don't. I don't know why you'd listen to this whole video and not go try at least some of the songs. I think there will be like 2, maybe 3 more lists that I can put up. First is the top albums I listened to this year. So this was just the albums that came out this year. But I want to do an album because I listened to so many albums this year that were from years ago, so I definitely want to rank those as well, because my favorite albums of the year were actually all of those, except Lovercore still made it on to that top 5. Then we also have my top games of the year. All of the games I played this year. I'm not going to do like 2 lists for that, just every game that I beat for the first time this year I will be ranking, and then I could also do like top movies and show. I didn't watch any new shows this year besides, well, I watched Stranger Things, but who knows, maybe that'll end up on my movies list because that is basically a movie. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will let the rest of this gameplay play out if you want to stick around and watch it, but yeah, Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more of this type of content. And hit that bell notification to be notified when I post next. Thanks, guys. Bye.